Welcome to today's our class. Myself, K. Manjula, Assistant Professor of Physics, Dr. BRR Government Degree College, Jadchalra, Mahabubnagar district. Coming to today's class. In this class, let us start a new topic, that is BSc first year, first sem, that is first unit, that is vector analysis. In this vector analysis, the contents which we are going to discuss are, that is introduction of this vector analysis, and what are scalars and vectors, and how we represent them, fields, that is scalar fields and vector fields, del operator, and gradient of a scalar field and its importance. Depending upon the gradient of a scalar field, a type of fields we will discuss, that is lamellar fields, the property of lamellar fields. These contents we are going to discuss in this class. Let us start. Coming to introduction of this vector analysis, I think you have some idea about these vector analysis in your lowest classes. That is this vector analysis, the use of vector analysis is a vast in our physics. This is the technique, that is vector analysis is a technique to solve certain two-dimensional and three-dimensional problems in some few branches of physics, that is mechanics. We take mechanics, electrodynamics, fluid dynamics. In these parts of physics, this vector analysis is compulsory to solve some type of problems that is based upon this two-dimensional and three-dimensional. And using this concept, the relation between among the physical quantities also represented. That is, suppose say W is, suppose if we, the work done, suppose the work done on a body, suppose that is F is a vector. It is represented by the dot product of force, and force is a vector, displacement is also a vector. So then this is the using this vector concept, the relationships between some physical quantities also represented, and physical concepts also, that is physical concepts can be understood by the application of vector analysis also. This vector analysis was developed by several scientists to understand the physics in deep. So this is the introduction, means why we have to study this vector analysis, importance of vector analysis. Coming to the scalars and vector quantities, depending upon the, in our physics so many physical quantities will come across. Out of those physical quantities, depending upon the direction, the physical quantities are divided into two types, that is scalars and vector. Scalar is nothing but the quantities which have only the magnitude, that is which have only magnitude but no direction. So that is, those type of physical quantities are known as scalars. Example for this scalars is, that is mass, time. Suppose how we understand this scalar is nothing but, suppose if your, what is your weight, suppose if your weight is 4 kg, if your weight is 45 kgs, that is weight or yours. Take another example, suppose say, what is the time now for that here, the time is now, say that is 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, time is a physical quantity, time. That is if we say that time is 6 o'clock, that is enough to understand the information about this physical quantity. There is no need to specify again in what direction this 6 o'clock, like, so there is no necessary. So it gives this complete information about the physical quantity, that is time. So that means that the time, the physical quantity, does not depends upon the direction, in east direction, west direction. There is no question, because this sentence, that is, it is 6 o'clock, that gives us total information about the physical system. There is no incomplete sense in that physical quantity. So those type of physical quantities means which have only magnitude, and no direction. So suppose similarly if you take mass is 5 kilograms, 10 kilograms, it is not necessary that 5 kilograms in which direction. So there is no meaning. So mass, time, similarly density, length, temperature, energy, work, pressure, specific heat, electric charge, current, potential. So many physical quantities we come across in our physics that were treated as a scalars. These have only the magnitude. Coming to the vector quantities also, coming to the representation, that is just now we understand that scalars, the quantities which have magnitude but no direction are called as scalar quantities. How we represent these scalar quantities? That is, mass is 45 kilograms. Suppose say that is 45 kilograms. That is, this 45 is a, that is number, that's magnitude. Similarly, kg is a unit. So to the scalar quantity can be completely defined by, specified by, expressed by a number and a unit. A number and a unit, n and a u. So that is nu is enough. That is example for the mass of a body is 50 grams. That is, this is a number, this is a unit. Similarly, coming to the so representation of this scalar is this one. There is no need to put again arrow mark on it. So coming to the vectors, just the vector. Suppose say a boy is going this here. The boy is going 5 kilometers. If I say that there is a confusion in this sentence. Where is he going? In which direction is going? So that means the 5 kilometers is the displacement. Suppose say not distance, 5 kilometers. So that is 5 kilometers east direction. If I say that is, that gives the complete sense. That is the meaningful sentence. So that is here displacement. Here if I consider a displacement have both, I have to express magnitude at the same time direction. So that one. So displacement is a vector. We can call it as a vector. So the quantities which have magnitude as well as direction and these are termed as a vectors. Simply we call it vectors. For example, displacement, just displacement, and we know that this displacement, or say this is a s represented by s. S is the displacement. The rate change of displacement is known as a velocity. Similarly, rate change of velocity is known as a acceleration. Similarly, that is force is a product of ma, mass into acceleration. So this displacement, velocity and acceleration and momentum is a product of mass and velocity. Velocity is a vector. If the vector is multiplied by a scalar, mass is a scalar, then total we get a vector. Like this, so many physical quantities in our physics termed as vectors which have both magnitude and direction. So this is the velocity. Examples for these vectors are velocity, acceleration, torque, momentum, impulse, amplitude, wavelength. These are all. How we specify this vector? Because this vector possesses both the magnitude and direction. So we have to specify its magnitude by its length and its direction by putting a arrow mark. So this is known as a tail, this is known as the head. That is, suppose say this is OA is a vector. O is the initial point. Say this is O is the initial point, A is the final point. Tail, this is head. This OA is represented by putting a arrow mark. This must be equal to, if we this must be expressed like this also, a vector simply. So this is the representation of the vector. Simply the magnitude represents the length of the vector. So that is the magnitude. Suppose 5 Newton, the force is 5 newtons. 5 is the length, that is magnitude. Newton is the 5 newtons in each direction. That is like this. So we have to specify magnitude and direction for this vectors. This is the information. This is the about vectors and scalars. In this vector analysis, partial differentiation is also very useful. That is, this partial differentiation. What is the use of this partial differentiation? Is that this partial differentiation commonly, the technique of differentiation is used to calculate the rate change. Suppose what is the rate change of this velocity after some time. So rate, to calculate this rate change of any function, so that is calculated by the differentiation, that is partial differentiation. Suppose say how we calculate this partial differentiation. Suppose say the differentiation of, suppose if I take a function phi. Phi is a, that is a function of x1, x2, x3 of independent variables. Then if I differentiate this function with respect to x, that is dou phi by dou x, similarly dou phi by dou phi. Here the partial derivatives are denoted by dou instead of derivation. So that is the difference between partial and that is complete differentiation. So this is only the use of this partial differentiation is to calculate the rate change of a function. Function means any physical quantity. Next, another quantity we come across in this vector analysis, that is del. This is also known as nabla. It is a differential operator. Differential. This means it is like a weapon. If we can operate this del on vector, scalar. Okay. So this del is represented in Cartesian coordinates as I dou by dou x. It is a vector. So del is a vector. Say this is I in Cartesian coordinates I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou j. Next, if I operate on any function, that is, if take a function, if this del is operated on a function, then we can write this that is gradient phi, that is I dou phi by dou x, I j dou phi by dou y plus k dou phi by dou j, by again replacing this equation by placing this phi outside del phi. So that is a vector. So by this the operator del is a vector. Its representation is I dou by dou x, j dou by dou y, k along x-axis. Means direction in 3-dimensional. It is a 3-dimensional differential operator. X direction, y direction, z direction. Similarly, coming to our vector and scalars, that is point function. In the vector analysis, let us try to understand this point function and field. Point function is nothing but suppose if you take a temperature, when a rod is heated, suppose this is a rod, when this rod is heated at one end, what happens, there is after some time there is a variation of temperature along this rod. So along this rod means in 3-dimensional, in how the temperature is varying due to the heating at one end. So that is, a physical quantity can be expressed as a continuous function, means the function is changing here. So the temperature can be shown by a function, that is function of x, y, z. The temperature is varying. So that is at any point. Suppose here I want to know the temperature. What is that one? Temperature at point x, y, z, like this. This continuous function is known as a point function. If this type of function is known as a point function. So that is, means the physical quantity can be expressed as a continuous function of the position of a point in the region of space. Suppose this is the temperature region of space, like this. Field is nothing but the region specifying the physical quantity is denoted as its field. The place, the region which that physical quantity shows its effect. So that is known as a field. Depending upon these fields, we again divided these fields into two types. That is scalar field and vector fields. That is, depending upon the nature of physical quantity, the field may be a scalar or a vector. Already we know that field is nothing but the region of space around a physical quantity. That is this scalar field. For example, if that physical quantity is a scalar, the region of space is known as a scalar field. If that physical quantity is related to a vector, that field is known as a vector field. So that is the arrangement of this scalar field and vector field. For example, for this scalar field, examples for scalar field is electric potential, gravitation potential, and a thermodynamic potential. Similarly, coming to vector field, induction, magnetic induction, electric field, so many vector fields we come across, but here we are taking this example for this vector field and scalar field. Next, coming to this scalar field, again, that is if the point function represents a scalar physical quantity, then the function can produce a scalar field with a range of variables. That is, example for this one is gravitational potential is a scalar quantity continuous over a range of producing a scalar field. Similarly, electrostatic potential, magnetic potential, temperature, these produce the scalar fields. Here another thing important, how we represent these scalar fields. Here scalar, suppose for this scalar field is represented by level surfaces or scalar surfaces. Suppose say this is a physical quantity, this is a field. Here that is what is the value of this field, because this scalars have only the magnitude. What is the value here? This, what is a distance here, what is the value around this physical field? If I see, this is known as a one level surface. On this level surface, this level surface or scalar surface, on this level surface, the physical quantity have same value. Suppose x. So this is known as if I take the potential as a physical quantity, this is the equipotential surface. Similarly, another equipotential surface. Similarly, another one, like these level surfaces does not coincide. So suppose say the field, these are the level surfaces. This scalar field can be represented by these level surfaces or scalars surfaces. That means here one can imagine several such equipotential surfaces in a gravitational field which are observed as concentric sphere. So say for these are the concentric spheres and do not intersect with each other. So the scalar value, the value for scalar point function will be same at every point. These are, if I take this scalar level surface, the value will be same on this level surface. Like this scalar field can be represented by level surfaces. Next, vector field. Coming to vector field, already if the physical quantity relates to a vector, the region of space is known as a vector field. This example for this vector field intensities, that is gravitational field intensity, and it means is a vector. Gravitational field intensity is a vector function producing a vector field over a range of values. Similarly, the electric field, magnetic field also produce the vector fields with respect to the intensity. How we represent this vector? Because vector possesses magnitude and a direction. So if this is a vector field, if you move from one point to point, its magnitude changes and its direction also changes. Like this, direction also changes. So if I move like this, direction changes, magnitude. So this, if I join those points, I get a line. Similarly, another line. So these vector field can be represented by this line, flux lines or stream lines, because magnitude changes and direction changes at every point. So This is, that is, while moving from point to other vector field to the vector quantity changes its magnitude as well as its direction. So every vector field is represented by these vector lines, and these are called as sometimes streamlines also, so or flux lines also. So vector field can be represented by these flux lines. This flux can be defined as the quantity of flux is a number of lines crossing unit area in a vector field normal to the direction of vector. Suppose if I place normal, how many lines are entering into this area, unit area normally? This is known as a flux. That is phi. Flux line. These flux lines similarly in the case of level surfaces, these lines are also will not intersect to each other. So these are the representation of vector field and a scalar field. Similarly, another operator, the just del operator nabla. So del can be operate as well as vector or scalars. Here, if the del operates on a scalar, see here this. If this del operate on a scalar, we get a vector. So that is known as a gradient. If suppose if A is a scalar, that is gradient of a, so here gradient of a scalar here. So just sorry, here actually this gradient of a scalar is a vector. This is the meaning, not gradient of a vector. Next, if this del is operates on a vector, we get a scalar. So that is known that termed as a divergence of a vector. Next, similarly, if this cross product of this del and a vector is known as a curl of the, that is, it is nothing but a rotation. So this is a gradient of a scalar, and this is a divergence of a vector. This is also curl of a vector field. So gradient of a vector is a, gradient of a scalar is a vector, divergence of a vector is a scalar, curl of a vector also a vector. So that is, we'll discuss these three clearly, that is gradient, divergence and curl. So gradient of a scalar field. How we understand this? So gradient of a means if this del operates on a scalar, suppose S is a scalar, means if I operate this del is a vector. If I operate this del on a scalar, we will get a vector. So to convert a scalar into vector, so then this gradient is helpful. So here this operating del operator on a scalar field results the gradient, and the gradient of a scalar gives the maximum rate of change of field at that point. This is the importance of this gradient, the maximum rate of change of field. Let us see how we understand this gradient. See, these are this is the scalar field. In this scalar field, consider two level surface. As we already know that this scalar field is represented by a level surfaces. This is first level surface. Select two level surfaces, S1 and S2. Here the values. What is the value of this scalar field on this S1's level surface? That is, say that is S. That is S. And here S, and here is S plus ds. S1, S2 are the two level surfaces. The values of scalar field on these two level surfaces is S and S plus ds. Next, suppose next change. How we calculate the change? That is S plus ds minus S gives the change is nothing but ds. Let us take 2 points, that is A is a level surface on S1, B is the another point on level surface S2. Let us take A to B path. Similarly, let us write the position vectors also For what is the position vector of A by taking O origin? Say that is R is the position vector. Similarly for B point also, this is the position vector is R plus dr. Naturally, automatically the difference between A to B means level surface S1 to level surface S2 B. Level surface S2 at point B. The position vector between this AB is nothing but that is dr. See here, that is OA is R, that is it is position vector between this O to A. Similarly, OB is R plus dr. Automatically, the point A on level surface S1 to a point B on level surface B. That must be equal to AB is equal to dr. Next, let us take what is the least distance between these two level surfaces. This is first level surface. Second, what is the least distance? I am checking. So draw a normal at point A in AC direction. That is AC is the normal. In this AC direction, n is a unit vector. Consider this is n. Similarly, AB is also another another direction here. Out of these t, let us check which is the least one. So for that here the least distance between automatically the least distance between this point, the least distance between S1 S2 is automatically AC. So this is the how we get this one. This is the normal drawn from the equipotential surface S1 to S1. This one is S1, this is S2, this is the normal, that is A, and this is C. S1 and S2. This and the similarly the rate change. Now calculate the rate change at A is it is nothing but dou S by dou N. Therefore, complete change, we can write it as a dou S by dou N into dN. But from figure, if you assume this is a theta, the angle between this AC and say this is AB, then cos this dN can be written as dr cos theta. So ds is equal to dou S by dou N dr cos theta. This dr cos theta again written as dot product of N dot dr. See, that means this ds is nothing but a change of from level surface S1 to S2 is nothing but dou S by dou N dot n cap dot dr. This represents the maximum rate of change at A along the direction of AC. That is maximum rate change. This is known as a gradient. Maximum rate change will be in the direction of AC only, because automatically this is first one, this level surface S1, S2. So this is S1, S2. This is AC direction. This is AB direction. Automatically AB the least distance. So this gradient S is nothing but dou S by dou N into n cap. In its normal direction, the rate of change of that field will be maximum. So this gradient now dou S by dou N. How we represent this gradient as gradient S? We are talking about the field S. So that is gradient S is equal to dou S by dou N into n cap. Now this S converted into a vector. So therefore the gradient of a scalar quantity is a vector quantity, because n cap is the vector direction. We are giving a direction in which direction the field rate will be maximum, that is in its normal direction. So that's what the gradient of a scalar field is a vector whose magnitude is equal to maximum rate change of direction is along a normal drawn to the surface. And one thing you have to remember, that is gradient is independent of reference frame. That is gradient is invariant. That we can prove like this. Say that is gradient S dot dr. Gradient S dot dr, let us take. the dou s by dou n in cap dr. Again this in dot dr can be written as dou s by dou n dr cos theta. That is dr cos theta. This is nothing but again dr cos theta is equal to dn. This is again dn ds. That means that is no change. So that is the gradient of a, its gradient is an invariant, we can say. Similarly, like gradient in Cartesian coordinates we can write like this. That is gradient s can be written as, that is I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z of s. If we operate this gradient on s scalar, then we get this Cartesian form. This is I dou s by dou x plus j dou s by dou y plus k dou s by dou z. That is ds is nothing but suppose say s is a function of x, y, z, then ds is equal to dou s by dou x into dx plus dou s by dou y into dy plus dou s by dou z into dz. Next, gradient is dot dr can be written as, dr means dxi plus dyj plus dzk. By doing this dot product, we get dou s by dou x into dx, dou s by dou y into dy plus dou s by dou z into dz. This is the step. This is this one. So that is del s dot dr. So this is the gradient is simply the how we calculate by to solve this problem, to solve gradient related problems we use this form. Next, what is the physical significance of this gradient? Physical significance means just now we use the gradient on a scalar, means if I use this del on a scalar, I will get a vector. So but here all see the vectors means the vector fields can be obtained from the gradient of scalar field are called lamellar fields. Only on some scalars, if we operate this del, only for some scalars, not for all scalars, we can't convert all scalars into vectors. Only some scalars, if we operate this del on that scalar, the scalar converts into vector. That type of vectors are called as lamellar vectors. Lamellar vectors. So that is, so here that is the fields are known as the lamellar fields. So that is here that the vector fields can be obtained from the gradient of a scalar field are called lamellar fields. But here there is no necessary that every vector field can become the gradient of a scalar field. Only for it is valuable, it is valid for only some vectors. Example for a lamellar vector field, let us take one example here, that is potential, electric field intensity is a vector. How we get this one? By operating a del, this gradient, this del operator on potential, minus here, minus gradient. This electric field intensity can be written as minus gradient of potential. So here V is the scalar potential function. If here we are operating this del on this scalar potential function, then this converts into a vector which is nothing but a electric field intensity. So similarly, another example, gradient of gravitational potential function gives gravitational field intensity. So these type of, because here now this electric field intensity field is known as a lamellar field. This is known as a lamellar vector. Like this, what is the meaning of lamellar vectors are nothing but the vectors which are obtained from the gradient of scalar field are known as a lamellar vectors, and the related fields are known as a lamellar fields. Here in this, the property of lamellar field is nothing but, this is the important one here. In lamellar field, the line integral value over a closed curve is always equal to 0. See here, this one. In a lamellar field, the line integral value over a closed curve is always equal to 0. Let us prove that. That is a property of lamellar field. For this lamellar, let us select a lamellar field. So here what is this here? This is V. Let Vs is a vector. It is derived from the scalar function S. So V not V. See here Vs. That is V. Here you are observing this is the Vs. This is how we will get this Vs vector by operating a gradient on S. So that can be written as gradient S. In this field, let us imagine two points, that is A and B, and two paths also, A to B in this direction and B to A in this direction. So, next, after considering this one, say this is a Vs and this is theta. Theta is the angle between. Suppose if we take some part of this length of this path, that is dl, the angle between dl and Vs must be theta. Therefore, we can write this Vs, the component of this Vs along dl direction, Vs cos theta. So the product Vs cos theta into dl can be written as Vs dot dl, that is dot product of Vs and dl. Similarly, let us calculate radial vectors also, position vectors also. That is for dl vector, they say this is this position dl is equal to r plus dr minus r. By subtracting we get. So that is Vs dot dl can be written as Vs dot dl. But already Vs we know, that is the gradient of S. Substitute that one. Vs dl is equal to gradient S dot dr. Therefore, now Vs dl automatically comes as ds. This equation. Now calculate the line integral from A to B. So these are the 2 points from A to B. How much? See, A to B line integral. That means Vs dl integration A to B. Here ds means gradient S dr. It is must be equal to ds. That is SB minus SE. Similarly, SB and SE are the values of field points at points AB. The line integral from similarly in reverse direction B to A. So that is integration B to A Vs dot dl is equal to written as integration B to A ds. That is SA minus SB. Total line integration. Next calculate. So that is total line integration, this one, integration A to B Vs dot dl plus integration B to A Vs dot dl is equal to substituting these values by adding SB minus SA plus SA minus SB cancels 0. The result is 0. That means this is complete. Here this symbol is nothing but a closed integration. Closed represents the closed line integral. Here we consider 2 points. This is one way and this is another way. The total closed integral will be 0 in a lamellar field. This we have considered as a lamellar. Lamellar means which obtained by the operation of gradient of scalar. So that means if Vs dot dl is equal to 0, that means gradient of S dot dl is equal to 0. This we can, that how we can prove this our statement. That is, in a lamellar field, the line integral value over a path is independent of the path but depends upon the end points only. So here this integral depends upon the only initial point and the final point only, but not depends upon the path. Therefore, the line integral value over a closed curve is equal to 0 in lamellar fields only. That is the property of this lamellar field. So This is about gradient and lamellar field. So this is about today's class. Let us recall what we have learnt in this class. That is here to we come across with vectors and scalars. This vector analysis. This is vector analysis is very useful in solving so many problems like two-dimensional and three-dimensional in many branches of physics, mechanics, fluid dynamics, electrodynamics. These physical quantities are divided into two types, that is depending upon the direction, scalars and vectors. The physical quantities which have only the magnitude, not no direction, those are known as scalars. Mass, time, density, length, temperature, so many physical quantities are termed as scalars. The scalar quantity can be represented by a number and a unit. Coming to vectors, the physical quantities which have both direction and the magnitude are known as the vectors. For specifying a vector, we need a magnitude and a number and a direction also. Here the vectors are represented by arrow mark. This is the tail, this is the head. Initial point, this one, this is the final point. So many physical quantities are termed. And partial differentiation. Partial differentiation is used to calculate the rate change of a function, because in our physics a function, so many physical quantities changes according to time. To calculate that change we use a partial differentiation. And another operator here in our vector analysis, that is known as a del, that is along the three-dimensional direction. This del can be represented as I dou by dou x, j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z. If this del operates on any function, that is it can be written as I dou phi by dou x, j dou phi by dou y plus k dou phi by dou j. This next point function, that is point function is nothing but a physical quantity can be expressed as a continuous function of the position of a point in the region of space. Temperature. Temperature is a physical quantity that is represented by a point function, that is T of x, y, z. Similarly, coming to the field, the region around the vector or a scalar is known as a scalar field. That may be two types, that is scalar field and vector field. These scalar fields can be represented by a level surfaces, and vector fields can be represented by a streamlines or flux lines. The flux here defined as a, that is number of lines. Here the number of lines crossing a unit area in a vector field normal to the direction of a vector is known as the flux. Flux lines will not intersect with each other. Next, del operator. If this del operator operates on a scalar, that scalar converts into a vector, that is known as a gradient. That is known as a gradient. If this del operates on a vector, we can write it as a del dot A is a divergence, and this is a curl. Curl of A is a vector, divergence of a vector is a scalar, gradient of a scalar is a vector. So let us meaning of gradient. Gradient of a scalar field is nothing but to convert a scalar into vector. Means direction. We are giving a direction to the already existing scalar. That is the meaning of this gradient. So gradient of a scalar field gives the maximum rate of change of the field at that point. So this the maximum rate compulsory in its normal direction. So that is the maximum rate. So this is the gradient. Gradient can be written defined as this is the gradient of a scalar field is a vector whose magnitude is equal to maximum rate of change of and direction is along the normal drawn to the surface. This is gradient in this Cartesian coordinates can be written like this. This is a physical significance of the gradient is nothing but the some vectors can be obtained by operating this del on a scalar. These type of vectors are known as a lamellar vectors. Fields are known as a lamellar fields. Example for this one, electric field intensity can be operated by negative of gradient on potential. So this is a lamellar. In the lamellar fields, one property is that the line integral value over a closed curve in a lamellar field is always 0. Means that does not depends upon the path. It depends upon the only the initial points. It depends upon the only initial points and the final points only. So this is the proof. We proved this one. So this is the about today's class.